Painkillers are more effective if they're red, okay? Sleeping pills are more effective if they're blue. There's a big difference to the placebo effect if you give people 3 small pills rather than 1 big one. But let's take this a bit further. Wine tastes better if you pour it from a heavier bottle. It's very easy as a human being to have a choice and to think you have freedom of choice. Very profitable sentence in the restaurant industry is simply still or sparkling. Okay, well, still or sparkling, right? They love that sentence. Why? Because it makes it really difficult to say tap. Okay? Every time they use that sentence, there goes £2.80. Similarly, a restaurant wants you to drink wine. Why? Apologies to Berry Brothers here, but wine doesn't have a known price anchor, so you can mark it up like a bust. You can't charge £30 a glass for a glass of Johnny Walker Red because people know what that costs in the shop. But you can buy a bottle of Chateau d'Obscur, 2005 for €6 and charge €30 for it. And because it's expensive, everybody will say it tastes of blackcurrant. And just by changing what people focus on, you can make something that people thought was shit seem good. I mean, fantastically, by the way, you can make people pay for things which are a downside. If you buy a Ferrari, they'll deliver it for free to your local Ferrari dealership, apparently. Or you can pay £500, have a tour of the factory in Maranello, which you travel to at your own expense, and then drive the car home. I don't know if you noticed that, but by framing it as a tour of the factory, they've got you to pay to collect your own car. You can make things cheaper through innovation. Rolls-Royce and Maserati made their cars cheaper through innovation. They stopped exhibiting them at car shows, where they look expensive, and they started exhibiting them at yacht and plane shows. If you've been looking at Learjets, Gulfstreams, and Sunseekers all afternoon, a €250,000 car is an impulse buy. By the way, if you allow people to pay for something contactlessly, it feels 15% cheaper. So innovation is a really important thing. Our contention is you can create value, you can create great experiences in the head without doing much to reality, what we call innovation. Now, innovation is spelled I-N-N-E-R-vation. It's a close relative of innovation, but it works slightly differently. Innovation is where you innovate not by doing something new in the physical world, but by doing something differently within the brain. A great example from history, Frederick the Great of Prussia was very, very keen for the Germans to adopt the potato and to eat it, because he realized that if you had 2 sources of carbohydrate, wheat and potatoes, you get less price volatility in bread. The only problem is, potatoes, if you think about it, look pretty disgusting. And also, 18th century Prussians ate very, very few vegetables. He tried making compulsory. The Prussian peasantry said, we can't even get the dogs to eat these damn things. They're absolutely disgusting and they're good for nothing. So he tried plan B. He tried the marketing solution, which is he declared the potato as a royal vegetable and none but the royal family could consume it. And he planted it in a royal potato patch with guards who had instructions to guard over it night and day, but with secret instructions not to guard it very well. Now, 18th century peasants know there's one pretty safe rule in life, which is if something's worth guarding, it's worth stealing. Before long, there was a massive underground potato growing operation in Germany. What he'd effectively done is he'd rebranded the potato. It was an absolute masterpiece. On the other hand, the most successful attempt to compete with Coca-Cola by miles is Red Bull. And it comes in a tiny can, it costs a fortune, and it tastes disgusting. It isn't actually a drink, or you could say it's a drug. It's expensive, and it tastes weird. Now, if you think about it, nearly all drugs taste weird. The small can says, they actually had to dose this out in especially small cans. If you had the full 330 milliliters, you'd probably go postal. It even has the most fantastic placebo, which is you can't buy it if you're under 16. Now, if there's a way to make 15-year-olds want something, it's to basically allow it only to be sold to people over a certain age. So generally in human behavior, there's much more subtlety going on than economics and standard mathematical models really understand. So the trick for innovation is, as I said, look for things which are objectively similar but subjectively different. The right mixture of red and green is the same as yellow, okay? Depending on how something is presented, you can make something brilliant seem absolutely terrible, and you can make something pretty bad, as Ferrari did, seem brilliant. But that's my final bit of advice.